Hi everyone, welcome back to Coding with Bharat channel. So let's discuss the second problem of this week's weekly Leetcode contest, right? Which talks about water bottles. So it says that let's say we are given two integers, number of bottles and number of exchange. So what is number of bottles? These are the number of bottles that we currently have and are full. So for example, if number of bottles is let's say 3, that means we have 3 full filled bottles. Okay. Now, what we can do some of the operations here. We can drink a particular bottle. So once we drink water from a particular bottle, then it will become now empty. So from full, now it will be an empty bottle. Second thing that we can do, we can exchange some of the empty bottles to get a new bottle. So, and how many we exchange, that depends upon this num of exchange. So as an example, if num of exchange is 2, that means we can give 2 empty bottles and get a full bottle now. So let's say initially we had 3 total bottles. So we went ahead and drank all the 3 bottles. So 3 we have drunk already. Now we can give 2 bottles and get one more full bottle and we can drink it. So now we have drunk 4 bottles and we have 2 empty bottles. Okay. Now, ideally we could have again given these 2 empty bottles and got a new full bottle. But the question says, after you make one such exchange, giving 2 bottles and getting one in back, then number of exchange value increases by 1. So now you need 3 bottles, 3 empty bottles to exchange for one full bottle. Okay, cool. So that is what the question says, and you need to find the number of bottles that you can drink. So here we could just drink 4 bottles because now we have 2 empty bottles only, but number of exchange value has become 3. Okay, so that is what the question says. So if you think about what we need to do in this question, we need to first look at if we have any full bottles as of now. We would drink all of them and convert them into empty bottles, right? If at any stage we don't have any full bottles and we just have empty bottles, we can compare if the number of empty bottles that we have is more than the current num exchange value. If yes, then exchange that many for a full bottle and increase the num exchange value by plus plus. That is, make it one more. So exactly this thing I have written in the code as well. So if you check out the code, so what I've done, initially we have number of full bottles, we have num exchange. I have declared an empty bottles variable which is 0 as of now. Like we don't have any empty bottles. And I have my answer, which is the number of bottles that I drink, which is again 0. Now I have run an infinite loop. So while 1, if you see that you have some full bottles with you. So if num bottles is greater than 0, that means we have some full bottles. So we can drink all of those and make them convert into empty bottles. So what I've done, answer plus equal to nums bottles. So this answer is number of bottles that we have drunk. So that will include these many bottles now. Similarly, they all now become empty and full bottles becomes 0. So full bottles convert all into empty bottles, right? Otherwise, if I see in the loop that okay, we don't have any full bottles, but we have some empty bottles, so I'll check. If the number of empty bottles that we have are more than or equal to number that we can exchange one full bottle for, then I'll do num bottles plus plus that okay, now we have one full bottle with us, which we got via exchange. Empty bottle, you subtract the number of values that you exchanged and you do num of exchange plus plus, because now earlier if there were 3 empty bottles that you used to exchange, now you'll have to exchange 4 of them. So do num exchange plus plus. Otherwise, if both of these are not true, that means we don't have full bottles, the number of empty bottles that we have are less than the number that we can exchange one full bottle even for. So in both the scenarios, if both of them are false, then I'll return, or in a way break from this loop, and finally at the end I return the answer. So yeah, repeatedly keep on doing this. If you have some full bottles, drink them, add them to empty. If you have some empty bottles and they are more than the ones that you need to exchange one full bottle for, give those many bottles, get an exchange, add it to full bottle, and then do num exchange plus plus, because next time we would need to give one more bottle. Okay. Some of the people, what they were doing in this particular question is using modulo, right? So what they did was, in, like, if let's say the number of empty bottles was 10 and num exchange was, let's say, 2 right now. So what they tried to do is, they said that, okay, I'll give all the 10 bottles and get 5 full bottles in return, right? So 10 by 2 equal to 5. And they said that, okay, leftover empty are the remainder, which is 0 as of now. But if it was 11, then also 11 by 2, which is 5. So I can give 10 and get the 5 back. And I'll just have empty equal to 11 modulo 2, which is 1. This I had seen a lot of people do. But the problem here is, the question clearly says that after every exchange, so yeah, so it says num exchange, you in one operation, you exchange these many amount of empty bottles with one full bottle. So only one full bottle, and then increase the value by 1. So after every exchange, you need to increase the value by 1. So yeah, that is the reason we cannot do this kind of an approach which exchanges all of them in one go. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to reduce these number of steps, you would need to rely on some math. That, okay, 5 plus 6 plus 7, like, calculate the sum of AP and then try to find how many bottles you can exchange in one time and then do that exchange. But uh, since the value of num bottles in num exchange was just 100, so we did not really need to do all of that. Okay. Yeah, but there is a scope to optimize this further. That what we can do, for example, if we have num exchange as 2 and let's say we have 10 bottles, so we can already calculate that, okay, 2, then next time we'll exchange 3 plus 4, so this gives us 9. So we can exchange 9 of the bottles for 3 full bottles and just get remainder with 1 and increase our num exchange to 5. So do multiple exchange together. That is possible, but considering n was just 100 and we were increasing by 1, so if you remember, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 in worst case is is a sum of n into n plus 1 by 2. So around root of x is the total time that we would even take for these exchanges to happen. Cool, then. So that was the simple idea of solving this second problem. Let's discuss the third problem now in the next video.